Good evening, folks. This is the Six Figure Developer Channel. Tonight is the live streaming Wednesday. This week, John Ash is taking the helm and showing us his personal project, LiftFitLog, a fitness tracking website written in React. It's been a couple of weeks, maybe even a month or two since we took a look at this one. You want to catch us up on what it is, where we are, what we're working on?
Yeah. So the quick element of where I came up with the idea is I wasn't happy with the fitness trackers that you sort of like get by default, Google Fit or whatever. There are some better ones out there that you could, other apps and whatnot. But what I specifically didn't like was a lot of times like lifting itself gets just kind of like overlooked, and you can do just one kind of lifting. And I wanted to be able to have an app that I could use to track more specific lifts, and then but still also be able to track just general activities or jogging or whatever it might be. The other goal was I wanted to be able to make this app so that the creator didn't have to think of every single fitness exercise that anyone could possibly want to do. And so I was trying to find a way to make it more generic. And so I came up with like 3 different categories: weightlifting, calisthenics, distance-based things, or distance exercises, I guess what I called them, and then activities. And basically you can create of those types. Each type will have different sort of characteristics that will automatically fit, and then you can fill in the details that you care about. So that was the idea anyways, to try to make something semi-generic. What we've got so far is I've done some messing around with logos, because that was
I was gonna say that fave icon and that logo right there, that is spot on. How many hours did you say you spent on that?
It may have taken 36 or something like that, but
by far the majority of the development time.
At least the majority of the initial day and a half that I worked on this was. And the funny thing was too, I had spent I was like, well, I don't really want to do this, so I was like, well, I guess I'll just download a logo because I don't care. And then I downloaded a logo. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but I was like, I don't like it exactly. I think it would be nicer if it was something slightly different. And then I was like, well, there's these logo generators that I can just give some really interesting. And the logo generator is actually what gave me like this sort of like L and this other L. And I was like, okay, well, that's kind of cool, whatever. But then I didn't like it exactly the way it was. And so I was like, well, if I can just get some other logo, then I spent a bunch of time getting another logo generator to try to do this. And then eventually I just gave up, and I was like, well, I guess I have to make this myself. And then I had to learn GIMP, and 36 hours later we had this, and it's probably not even all that good. It's just what I made. So anyways,
and it looks like the app itself is Create React app. Out of the box. Okay.
Yep. Create React app. Well, no. Yes.
Yeah, it's all React scripts 17.
I don't even remember.
Or React scripts for React 17. Sorry.
Yeah, if it wasn't Create React app, you would remember, because it's
it
terrible
was
to set up React
app. It was Create React app. That's correct. And I have not ejected anything, but then I learned.
Yeah, don't eject. No.
Then I learned that the tutorial I had evidently followed was like 3 years old, so I was doing everything wrong.
Oh, did you read our book?
Yeah, I think we ejected, didn't we? Did we
eject? Yeah. Somebody wanted us to eject.
Because at the time, that was the prevailing thought, was to eject once you get there. I had since then also ejected an app and then
How can you eject and then reinsert?
Well,
Like, yep, we're outside the plane. Oh, dang, I left my keys in there. Let me go. Let me go back.
the easiest way was to create another create React app and then move everything back in. But yeah, Ryan said in chat. I said in chat to Ryan that this group here, we kind of obsess over things. He said, sounds like him. I'm assuming him, Brian, sorry. Sounds like me. So one of us. And book, yes. Clayton and I wrote a book on test-driven development, practical test-driven development using
in
C#
and JavaScript.
Yeah, it was half C# and half JavaScript, and then they changed the title on us. So a little bitter. It's fine. You can find it on Amazon. Here, I'll grab it.
It is. As far as the JavaScript portion goes, it is fairly out of date at this point. The principles still apply, but the actual setting up of the application is probably not valid.
Yeah, but that, to be fair, that wasn't what we were trying to convey. The test-driven development was what we were trying to convey. Oh, that's a terrible
a nice short link. That's good.
Yeah, that's a terrible link. Here,
anyways,
this one's better. There you go.
There you go. Anyways, so after I finally got over the logo, I've gone through and I've put together basically the first sort of piece of the app that I want to write is just basically the recording. So I want to record everything and have something that I can just more journal my whenever I get back to the gym, if ever, whatever I did on that day. So this was the first thing, and what I did was I went and I basically created all of the. I tried not to do too much. Where are things?
So naturally, all the you've done too much.
Naturally, I have done too much, but I did try not to. But I created the various components and basically created a journal and all the entries, and initially just hard coded the data in them, and so that I could create all the CSS and style that all up. And again, it probably is not good, but it's what I created. So there you go.
Now, I think when we left off last time, we were talking about those two buttons, the plus and the edit. We were going to try to do one of them. I don't remember how far we got on that, though.
0.
Okay, cool. So that's the goal then, is to do one of those?
Yeah, so we sort of started, at the very end, we were kind of talking about what should be our next steps. And let's see here, if I remember correctly, everything right now is sitting in this day component. And so if we look at it, there's the journal component, which then has 3, a new day, exactly the same day over and over again. And then the day has, we at least pulled all of the data back for each of the components inside of a day to just read through all of the sets. And I think we called them sets. And I may have afterwards renamed them because sets is just horrible for this. Sets is their proper term, but I think I called them entries. So now each one of these entries, these lines, are an entry as opposed to a set. And that makes talking about it a little bit better.
Why don't, instead of breaking things horribly, go back to the page or component, the JavaScript file that had the day on it?
Yep.
Why don't we either in this or maybe even in this one, why don't we create an array of days data, and then
so like pull it back one more.
And then we can look at what it would look like to pass in day information into a day, so that we can pass in Wednesday, January 13th, whatever.
Sure.
So that'll give you that, and then we can look into adding it to local state if we want to be able to update it and such.
So what I agree with that. I think we may just here's where I would say I wonder if we could just have each day get its own entries. So that's sort of the way it's set up right now.
Yes. And that's why I was thinking maybe for now just the day array contains the date, the weight, and the text or something. The things in the orangish box on my screen. Wednesday, January 13th. Not necessarily the things on the right, but at least the things on the left. And then we can pass those into that and then figure that out from there.
Yeah, that color is officially bronze.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate that. That's helpful.
Okay. Yeah, we can certainly do that. Let's see here. Let's look at day. Right now, day is just being set here.
And you could just pass in day on props, and day would contain those data points.
Did we get this incrementing working?
No, I think we were trying to.
We were trying to get that working. Yeah, but we realized that there were some other issues going. Like, I think if I refresh this.
Yeah, it updates the underlying array. It just doesn't tell React that it needs to react to it.
And it's because we are, if I remember correctly, we are updating the memory that is already being referenced. We are not creating a new reference. And so React doesn't realize that anything has changed.
Yep. And I think we realized that to fix it here doesn't make any sense, because ultimately we wouldn't have this problem if we were pulling that count down from a service like we normally would expect.
Right. So the answer was to just go ahead and push everything back that one more level. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the first thing, let's go ahead and grab this day here.
Seize the day.
And let's go bring that into journal. Let's see, that's also a class, so we're gonna have to go and update this. Export function, default function, day. Okay. Journal.
Ooh, a ninja. Code with Sean.
We have a ninja?
Ryan just dropped a ninja.
Nice.
You didn't see it because it's a ninja.
Right, yeah. I mean, there are 9 ninjas in my room right now. I just didn't know it.
Ash, that failed to compile.
Yeah, I know it. Okay, what's not good? What doesn't it like?
Oh yeah, no, don't use components.
Well, I was having to fix what I had gone with before.
No render. Get rid of the render. Just return.
This whole line, but then we won't need that one. That can all pull back. That seemed to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't
So
do classes anymore. It's
true.
Yeah, so I hadn't fixed that with everything yet.
Yeah, I was working on my side project, and it still had one class in it, so I had to go and fix that.
All right. So, and then we want, let's just let days. then day.
No, don't do it like that. So each.
What am I doing wrong here?
Well,
not
no.
like
It's just it's something simple. You can leave. So each item that's going to be looped over, technically, you want it to have a key? So basically, keep your day that you have and keep how you're doing day, but do the crap. What's it called? Spread operator.
Oh, spread.
So for each one of those, like surround each day with curly braces. Is that a curly? Okay, and then do a dot in front of the D.
Like that?
3 dots. And then either before or after, put an ID in there with some value, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a comma, because it's a new. Oh, hey, where'd that come from?
That's VS Code being friendly. No, the comma.
Chameleon.
ID?
Yeah,
ID
and then we're
colon.
adding- Yeah, so it's adding an ID
And then
property.
like 1 or 2 or whatever. And just copy that for each one of them and then just change the ID. And then down there in your return, you can do key equals ID for each one of those.
This is hacky.
Lost my cursor.
This is hacky, but it's fine.
It's either that or
it's-
replicate the data 5 times.
It's iterative. It's fine. It's
Yeah. We're just backing it up one step. Not trying to get crazy.
we'll get crazy later.
Yeah. You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Wait, is he Batman
He might be. You don't know.
or Mr.
When
Mom?
when I look at Ash, I always think millionaire playboy, philanthropist, and vigilante.
Dark Knight.
Yeah. Whoa,
All right.
what was all that? Okay.
So at least that's working. Okay. And then we pretty much did this over here.
So we bringing in props. Hello.
Yeah, we are. But we
Yeah.
need
Big
to
ideas are
do
bad.
it- Huh?
Big ideas are bad.
Yeah, Ryan said doing things iteratively keeps me from having big ideas to don't start.
I'm trying to see how we.
You've
I
got
guess we're
everything
using
on
map. Okay, so we're using
Yeah.
map here to
Yeah, which is
get
fine.
this one.
And you can actually keep your if you go up wherever up is. You could probably keep that. Excuse me, that part. But you need to
Yep,
bring
yep,
in
yep,
you
yep.
need to bring in props so that you can get the day.
I don't know what you're saying.
Props is a parameter for the day function.
We probably did that in one of these other ones.
No, you need it right there.
Yeah.
You just
But
type the word
I'm just saying.
props.
I'm just saying we probably did that in like this one, for example.
I think
And
we
it-
did it somewhere. Probably not in the SAS.
And,
like this.
and again, chat, this is what it's like pair programming with Clayton. Oh no, just type the word.
I get it. I'm just trying to make sense here as we go. Okay.
And then you can
Okay.
do your thing.
So now we could say, how did we do that in activity? So in this case, we basically define our const entry. So in the day, we're going to pull that from props, and we're just going to pass day into it. Okay, so in this case, we could just comment all of this out for a second. Oh, and this is what you guys taught me to do that.
Yeah,
Hold on.
destructuring.
Destructuring. That's
All these fancy words when you're doing JavaScript.
Destructuring sounds like blowing stuff up, and I like it.
I wish.
But of course, it doesn't have any
Ta-da!
days and props. So
And now you
perfect.
pass in day as
So
a
now-
property
yeah, now we
on
come
one
over
of the
here.
days.
Did you not pass in props?
No, I haven't done that yet.
No, he hasn't modified that.
So we need to come over here to journal, and we need to do.
Just right there, just on those days, right there. Just pass in day equal.
Well, he needs a map or a for loop.
Well, he
Yeah.
doesn't need to. Iteratively, he could just throw a property of day on those.
Right, but
Just day.
he's already made the days.
Just day. Just
Curly's.
Curly's.
not prop. Just day.
Yeah. Day equal day.
Just day.
Day equal day. Day. Day equals day.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. It's been a little while. It's been like
That's fine. That's fine. We're here to learn. We're not laughing at you.
Yeah,
We're laughing
feel
because
free
we've
to.
been
Speak
there.
for yourself.
Okay, I'm laughing because I did this earlier today. Like,
Oh, I do it all the time. Trying to save Ash the pain, but I'm causing more, so I'm gonna.
No, you're good. Okay, so will this? Do I have it right? It doesn't seem to be.
Well, what's it actually saying?
Failed to build.
Something about 90 minutes, 82, 39 minutes. I don't know. Oh, const. It's upset with your const. Did you actually pass in props on the function for the day component? That's activity entry. You did. So, okay. Const declarations require an initialization value. Refresh? I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't have to refresh because, stuff, but... Oh, your page broke, so it wasn't refreshing the page anymore. I guess.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. All right, so that's working now. Go back to the journal. So what we need to do is we have these days now, and we want to do a
days.map.
days.map.
Something about a map.
Uh,
There you go.
fat arrow, right? And then we have, what do we do here? Don't remember. It's been a while.
Just day.
Oh, that's when we pass in.
Yeah, you can just do your one of those lines. Just stick it right in there.
Except in this case, it's going to be D.
Right. And then also add a key equals
Key.
d.id.
Because React needs a key on those things that it knows to update.
I mean, it doesn't need it, but
doesn't-
it
it's not a
certainly likes
comma.
it.
And it's, yeah.
Is this?
Yeah, it's
Curly,
more
no
efficient,
comma.
so it's a good habit to get into.
Yeah, if you've got
And we don't need the comma.
lint and all that stuff set up, it will not work for you.
He hasn't gotten that aggressive yet.
Now I don't need those.
Correct.
And these should probably be different numbers.
They should be.
Yeah.
Now, if you change the actual days and things, you can see that they're different. Like instead of just duplicating day,
Oh,
actual
right.
and make, yeah. Which it doesn't matter, but
Yeah, we would just have to pass different ones. So, Let's do that.
Well, you could instead you can do the same thing you're doing with ID. You can just do comma date equals or date colon new date blah blah blah.
That's
And then the weight and the notes would be the same, but the date would change.
gotcha. Okay, so comma date colon.
Yeah, copy pasta.
Yeah, this is JavaScript has changed a lot in the last 4 years.
Yes. That is an understatement.
As it turns out, should I put being? Is it good to put spaces here? I mean, this is
I like
normally
to,
what I
but
would
that's
do.
just for
Okay.
that's for my sanity.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's do. I kind of want these. I guess it doesn't really matter, but
I mean, that's
we'll
the
go-
first one, so
We'll go. Yeah, I don't actually need to change it. I understand, but I'm going to do the same on for each one.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I mean, if you are going to change it, then I would change it to 11, 12, 13, 14. Then they sort of match up with the ID. But boom, just like that.
All right.
So now you have different days. They are brand new objects. They have their own memory reference, all that stuff. So technically, if we went and we fixed whatever we did wrong with the plus, it would work, and it would work only for the one day now. But I don't know what we did wrong exactly. I mean, I have an idea. I think I remember. But
Yeah. Although, okay, so for now, I'm just going to go ahead and save this and kick it off to our. So,
well, and were we going to extract a service so that
yes.
the day
So I
can
think that's-
ask for the data?
That's
that-
what I think we need to. That's what we want to do next is probably extract either the day or the day entries into a service.
Yeah, and then that would just return the hard-coded arrays for now or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for those things that we want to edit the numbers and things, once you retrieve that data, then at the highest most point where it makes sense, highest most component where it makes sense,
Yep.
we would put that retrieved data into local storage, or not local storage, local state,
Local state.
so that you can increment it and do the things that we were trying to do last time.
Which is a fancy word for component property.
Which is what we were trying to do, I think, last time, except for with this ink count and all that sort of jazz.
Yeah, we
Right,
screwed up
set
how we were
entries.
trying to edit the object last time.
All right. Well, I'm gonna continue with. Okay. Well, so what do we do? Just do here. We, sort of, day to depend on props. Yes. I'm gonna stage all those things. And push. Okay. So, let's see here. I had started this cons folder, so I would imagine probably just creating a services folder would be a great place to start here.
So out of curiosity, just to get a handle on that whole local state concept, would you maybe want to turn days into local state and have it populate as part of component initialization?
Good.
Then we can run like the full gamut of React state and update cycle without going through the whole thing of making the service and everything, because we've already got a set of data that we could do that with. And then after you create the service, you'd have something to reference.
Good. Yep.
Hang on 1 second. Let's see if my wife can bring me some water.
Hydrate.
Hydrate. You know, I see in the users in chat, I see that freaking Ward is here and hasn't said anything yet.
That's just the ghost of Ward.
I mean,
Okay,
Ryan's
so,
here and he's chatting. Ryan's
so-
chatting with us.
Right, but freaking Ward's probably a Twitch sickle.
Hmm.
He's up in those
It's-
cold states.
It snowed. Snowing. I don't know.
Okay, so what you guys are saying, so now we have journal here and we want to pull this into the state. I didn't quite understand. So are we going to be doing the similar thing to we have here where we have like a default days
So
and
there's a couple of different things we could do.
we
We could put all of this data into a service, and then just call that service to retrieve the data. Clayton's latest suggestion was to take what we just did, and instead of a local array, we could take that local array and put that into local state, just as is,
Okay,
and introduce that concept here.
sure. So where do we go? Let's do it. Because I'm not familiar. So you guys are gonna have to give me some.
So you
Alright,
need
so-
the use state that you just saw.
The use state. Okay.
Yep.
Just like that.
Yep.
And whatever the
Spaces.
well, so I'm thinking to also populate it in the in the hook. So, but what is the hook for that? I can't remember off the top of my head.
So, are you saying for like use effect to be able to call
Yes,
the?
that's the one that you do for
service?
initialization, right?
Well, not necessarily. We would do the const, and then like a. So
yeah,
it's weird.
you set up your
Okay.
state, but you set it up as effectively an empty array. And then in use effect, that's where you would call your service and populate your data.
Yep.
So that's what I'm suggesting is we can use this hard coded data, but use it as if we were going to call a service. So it gets us ready for calling a service, and then we could go and do the same thing in the other one if we wanted,
So-
or go ahead and create a service.
So on
Do I need
line,
another?
not yet. So like on line 7, we would probably introduce const square bracket days inside square bracket days comma set days, something like that.
Yeah,
comma,
set
set
days.
days. So then what this is, and then outside square equal use state, and then empty array. Open close curly or open close parentheses, open close square brackets in the middle. So just yep, and then yep,
Except no space, right?
an equal sign between the last or the between use state and set days. So yep. So we're saying that the new constant of days is going to be coming out of use state, the default of which will be an empty array, and how to set those days is you call set days. The problem is now that we've got 2 different instances of days below that, which is fine.
Please use this.
Leave that for now, and then semicolon at the end of that line.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're throwing me into a panic attack.
Okay, so yeah, no, there's nothing there, so
Right. Now we don't
it
have
all
any.
works. We got nothing.
So now we can uncomment those and pick a different name for days.
Default days.
I mean, you don't even need the variable name if we
That's-
just go
that's
into the
true.
hook.
Yeah, it's true, but whatever.
Control KU.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
There we go.
there you go.
Now we can introduce a use effect.
Just right up next to use state, just add a comma and throw in the where you're importing.
Oh, the number one. Yep.
Yep, that one.
Sometimes it's helpful.
Sometimes.
So line 21-ish,
Yeah.
we'll do a use effect. Open paren, open
Yeah, and then
double open paren.
throw in a lambda
Oh, okay.
or an arrow function or whatever you want to call it.
Then you can move all that crap in.
Go ahead and get some
Let-
curlies. You're going to want multiple
Yeah.
lines. There you go.
Yep.
And then just drag all that junk into the use effect.
All of this.
Yep.
And then at the bottom of that,
Now
set.
we call set days,
Default days. Yep.
and then
And it's a
Equals?
function. So
it's a function. Oh,
Yeah.
so it's taking in default days.
yep.
Hydrate. I heard it.
Oh yes.
Where'd it come from?
Thank you.
Oh, so close. Oh, no. Save it again.
D is not defined.
So much better.
Force save.
D is not defined.
Yeah, it caught while you were still
Yeah,
typing.
just save again. That works too. Ta-da! Everything's back. So this is the pattern of how to get it to realize that something has changed. So this is the. I only really use effect for like when the component is initially loading. I guess technically it gets run every time the component.
Yeah, so on
Yeah. So
online,
yeah, walk me through what is actually running when it runs and etc.
So actually on line 24, between the curly and the parens, we're going to do a comma open close square. Line 24,
Line 24 here.
Between those two curly and paren, do a comma open close squares. So this is dependent on nothing. It will rerun this effect. Sometimes you can say, and we will need this later on the, is it mad? Do you need to refresh?
Just
Yeah,
save
let me
again.
try.
Okay. So we will need this on your 2x chest press 7 reps, on your rep data, your event data, whatever. I forgot what you called it.
Count
We will-
or whatever.
We will want to tell it what it would be dependent on for calling this. This one is not dependent on anything, so we might do it dependent on a day or something like that.
Oh, okay.
That
So
would
this
be what's
is
inside that array of things.
so inside of here. So if would this add button eventually be one of the things that it depends on,
No, like days.
or days?
Yeah.
Days.
Yeah, so you might have another use effect that is dependent on days, and then if anything about the days changes,
I see.
it'll
Then
know to
rerun
update.
that. Yep.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. So this one right now doesn't have
now-
anything.
Yeah.
And I guess so. I don't need to normally pass this. I could choose to not set it. I guess.
If you
but then
if you don't have that there, it's the same thing as what you have now.
but this is
and-
more explicit.
And depending on your lint settings and things like that, it'll yell at you.
It'll yell at you. Okay.
And
So
actually,
the-
if you F12 on that and remove it, you might actually see the console stuff yelling at you, and you're just ignoring it. F12 on the browser, that is.
oh, I see.
It's very verbose about yelling at you.
And then
console.
remove.
Let's remove
yeah.
this. Yeah.
Well, you need the
Yeah. Yeah. I do need that one.
Ooh.
What is it?
Yeah, I got mad. Put it back quick.
Yeah, it's the warning. I think the warning is leading to an error because use effect. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. So then refresh.
And everything's all good.
And it's happy. Okay. All right. So it is needed there. It's just because of JavaScript's looseness. It'll sometimes work.
So now we can pull all this fake data out into a service and have the service call inside this use effect.
And you can even await it and everything.
All right. So
thanks for the follow, nameless coder.
Pull days into state.
Oh, we get a drink.
And
everybody drink up.
Set. Yeah, well, 1 second.
Hydrate.
Do it now.
Set on initial.
Wait, is nameless coder your wife? She just brought you a drink and now she's telling you. But nameless coder, in case you're just joining us, Ash literally just had his wife bring him a drink. She did not make a cameo on screen though. I'm kind of disappointed.
I appreciate that you're calling what we do teamwork.
It makes the dream work.
Set on initialize with what? Oh, use effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
I know the internal IP address range of your home.
I don't know that gives you much.
I've been getting random Ubiquity notices that I've been reconnected and stuff, which makes me very disappointed.
That's what happens when your password is 12345.
How did you know my password?
I may or may not have been driving by.
My user session has expired.
Okay, so now we're on to create a fake service, which my guess was you would recommend by creating a folder over here called services.
I think that's fair.
Okay. And then we create a file inside of this called
I wonder what my password
day service.
That's not what it was. It's very disappointing.
There we go. And now you have the fun of determining how you want to run your services in your application. Because you could use classes or a function list or all kinds of weird stuff.
Yeah, what do you recommend?
Oh, I don't know. What does John recommend?
Classes?
I don't know.
Class?
I haven't done fake services in a while. Hold on.
Well, it's a fake service that's going to turn into a real service. So how would you do the real service?
Yeah, how do you do the real service? Class? Function list?
No, function. Yeah. We don't do classes anymore. Come on.
Yeah, so just export a function for get days.
That was the okay.
Yes.
Export function get days.
Okay.
Or unless you're going to do get days
export
equals function. It's up to you. I mean,
Oh, I see. Export function get days.
Or export get days equals function. I mean, it doesn't matter which way you go. Yep. And then obviously for right now we're just going to return the canned data, right? So
Well, we'll get that here in a second.
yeah, basically lines 10 through. Yep. Everything is broken.
All right, and then return default days. Which I guess I could just...
If you wanted to. Oh, you're going to return it and name it? Fancy.
I guess I can also do that. And then I don't need that. And then that's all there. Okay, so then we need in journal We need a using here, right?
Or equivalent. And a semicolon,
An
for Pete's
import.
sake.
You know what? Let's see here. So this would be get days.
Yeah. Yeah. So you didn't export it as default, so you'll need to use the curly braces.
And then this is... We have to go up 1, 2, and then into...
I might give you IntelliSense on the... Yeah. There you go.
Yep. Why is it not... Oh, because I haven't used it yet?
Right. Now, do you want to... Well, no, we can do that later. It's fine. Do your thing.
And I probably won't do... Okay, but... Okay. Good Lord.
What are you doing?
So right now, just because I know it's probably not needed, but...
Oh, geez, it's freaking out.
What does it not like? Okay. It works. Okay, so that works. But I could probably just get rid of all this and just do get days.
Yeah, that's an option. And then when you're actually making an HTTP call, you'll have to await. But, yeah. Short, sweet, and simple. And then now you can. Now we have that pattern, so you can take that exact same pattern, go into day, and use it to get the workouts for the day.
And since we have an ID on day now, we can actually do that. Okay, let's quickly, so extract day into fake service. I mean, it's not really, it's just into service. It's fake only because we know it's fake.
It's returning the production data at the moment.
That's right. The current production. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's come down into services. We have a new file here. We'll call it the day entry service. Export. And this is going to need to take an ID. And right now, it will not care what the ID is, because we're just going to give it everything exact same. Default entries.
Oh, it's a big one. Yeah.
I don't need an equals there.
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
I think you're good.
I think that seems happy. Okay. And then over here
Nice and easy.
in days, we can go and grab that. Day.
Oh, you'll need
This
to
is
import
get-
entry types into into your service.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Yep. Okay.
I mean, go ahead and finish this.
Yep.
I saw
Yep,
it, and
yep.
I figured before it was an actual error. Might as well let you know.
Day. What was it called? What did I call it?
Get day entry.
Entry.
Should probably be entries, but
Should be. Get day entries.
And then I think the IntelliSense is helping you out there. Or I guess it's IntelliCode. Even for VS Code, right?
I don't know, but you probably are. And day entry service. Yep. Okay, and then yes, this one right here. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't know the types. Yep.
You'll have to adjust the path, or maybe not. I would think you'd have to adjust the path.
I may not, but let's check. Yeah. Yep. Nope. Constants.
Yep, there we go. That part's good.
All right, so then now we have that, we can just do, we can say that this is, we can get rid of this line here. Actually. Try to be fancy with it. Use React, and this is get day entries.
Yep.
And we pass in props dot ID, even though it's not doing anything.
Well, and if you move this down, you should even be able to pass in day.id.
Oh yeah, good call.
And we can switch over to the just get rid of all that. We can switch over to the use effect.
All right. Yeah, let's do that here. 1 second. Let me commit. I try to keep on the commits. Keep the commits small on my stuff. What we're doing here, we're extracting day entries.
I need to go and check that
service.
extra field on the use effect and make sure I'm not screwing that up on my code.
No, I don't want to discard it.
Get rid of them.
Okay. Okay, and so what you're saying here, we basically, in this case, we were setting entries. We're using the use state define default,
right.
passing
So you would,
default entries.
Yeah, you would actually make that an empty array, just like we did for days. And then you would do the use effect, and that's where you would get.
So explain
get your day
what
entries.
explain the difference. What is the difference between the two?
So once you're actually calling an asynchronous service, the return of that value would actually happen out of band.
Right.
And you would be attempting to push in that new state at an inappropriate time for the React component.
Makes sense.
And there's, if you land on that raise condition the wrong way, it'll get mad at you. Whereas if you use the use effect hook, then that knows when it can actually make updates and stuff, and it calls the right trigger to get everything to work.
Okay, so we would actually want to take this line right here and bring it up, and this needs to be a blank, and then this should all work, right? It's just going to be empty.
Yeah, just no workouts. Yep.
Okay, and now we need to do actually it would be after this. we need to do use effect, except we'll call that inside of it, won't we?
Yes.
Use effect, and then I forget already.
Yeah.
Luckily, you've got an example on this right there. And then just pull that over there.
Okay, so we're doing a fat arrow function. So it's using a callback there. Okay, and then
Go pirate software.
is it set entries equals?
Oh, so close.
Are we hydrating, or nameless coder? Are you offering
That's right, it's just
to
a
go get
function.
drinks, or are we offering to redeem hydrate?
Yeah, when you say thirsty, what do you mean? Oh, boom.
Oh, Ryan redeemed hydrate. We're good.
I'm gonna run out of soda.
Nameless coder redeemed hydrate as well.
Oh, we'll crack open a water for that one.
Don't need that there. Don't need that.
Ash is in programming mode. He doesn't know how to hydrate right now.
Sorry.
And he turned his water heater for this broadcast, so turned it off. Right.
Oh, speaking of heat, right? So I know the rest of the country is suffering, but in Florida, it's not exactly that cold. It was a little cooler today, but my room has been like 150 degrees, I swear, because of the computer and everything. So I ran to work the other day, and I picked my Aeron chair up from work, and I brought it home. Today has been a wonderful experience.
Nice. I mean, well, I'm not sitting in my Amish,
Your Amish Aeron chair.
my Amish Aaron chair today.
Was bringing the Aeron chair home company approved, or is that you've gone rogue?
I actually got approval to bring it home in what was it, like May? And I got to the office when I picked up my keyboard and everything, and I was like, you know what? I really don't need it. It'd be one extra thing, and we're probably going to be back in
There's
the
still
office,
some in there, but
relatively
you can fill
soon.
that
So,
up. This one I still have some stuff. I just realized.
but
Wait,
then
did she just come and refill?
midstream,
She's gonna spoil you.
Yep, she does spoil me already. So
but the mesh bottom
All right.
on the Aeron chairs is just a beautiful thing.
entry day entry.
And now
To use.
I can't. Okay, you're making a commit. I was like, I can't see where your cursor is.
Now inside the square, you want to be dependent on data.id, and then you can make that whole thing really generic, right? So it is dependent on data.id.
This one is.
So that way, if you were to load a different set of days, well, it would anyway, though, right? Because of the key,
Yeah, that's what I was.
it would
thinking.
reload the whole component.
Yeah, but
I mean, this is probably
if you,
good
if
practice.
you pulled it out, whatever, yeah. Yeah, and this is another one. It would yell at you because it'll see that you're using a variable inside that thing, and
But,
you're not
okay.
telling it. You're not telling the effect that it is
Why?
dependent on that thing.
Why
so
is it
it'll
not?
yell at you?
Why is it not?
Because you're not
Days
using
dot
any.
ID.
You're not using any variables, no parameters.
Oh, here.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not dependent on anything.
Right now,
I'm
when
just
you
getting
when
all
you're
the
when you're
days.
actually
Yeah,
Passing in
inside your use
something.
effect, inside this newest use
that.
effect on line 17, yes, it is dependent on that. So if that were to change, it would need to know that it needs to update that thing or recall that thing, use that effect again.
I see. Okay. Oh yeah, and I guess we basically have to pass that in,
Yeah, so I
right?
might
Because
pull that
use
out
effect
just to
doesn't
a
know
single
anything
variable.
about days.
Yeah,
This is-
you're
This is down here inside of a.
right. You're just handing it a reference to day.id, and it goes, oh, if something happens to this, I know
If
I need
something
to do
happens
a
to
thing.
this, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't have any reference to that data ID.
Right.
Anyways,
And now I think we're done with like the cleanup and creating of the services, so we can actually maybe tackle this increment entry count. Which I would say slap that into a service function. Like, increment entry count will call some service function that says add another entry or whatever, increase the count.
yeah. So, this is ID of the entry. Yeah. I probably should rename S there, but whatever.
So if we do CQRS, then you would basically say increment count on your service, and that's a command, so it'll just do a thing. You wait for that to finish. So we're all synchronous right now, so you don't have to wait, but just in theory, you wait for that to finish, and then you would do get entries again, and you would populate set entries with whatever you get back from get entries. Which do we need to use another hook for that, or are we okay to use it to do it in the function?
Do what in the function and the thing?
So
and stuff?
the inc entry count, what we're attempting to do in there, should that be in a hook, or is it okay in a function? There's some weird rule about what to do outside of hooks and what to do in hooks, and I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, so what this is, so are we wanting to actually up, so where are we wanting, or what are we wanting to affect? Are we wanting to call the service and make it change its data, or do we want to just change the data in local state? I think for baby steps, let's just change the data in local state for now.
Okay.
Okay, that's what we were trying to do, and we were running into troubles. And I think I know what the troubles are, but so
Is it working now?
no, it's not working now.
No, it's not still
So
working.
what you
Okay.
need to do is open in front of entries.filter. So you want to wrap that whole entries.filter thing with curly
Yes.
braces,
Yep.
and then you want to use the expansion operator, the 3 dots in front of it. And then what that will do is it'll create a brand new entry that matches all the data from the entry that you were after. Then when you increment the count, that'll work. And then here's where it gets more complicated, because you need to do another you need to do an array expansion on entries where you filter out, so we're not equal ID, comma, the inc entry. Do you follow it all? The look on your face is what I'm asking.
Nope. I'm still trying to think. Okay, so we need to filter out. Yeah, because we don't want to.
Right, so
We
inc
don't want to do
entry,
this for all entry.
right, inc entry is now a brand new entry. It is
Yep.
not the entry that is stored in your list of entries.
Yep.
But your set is for the entire list, not for an individual entry. So what you want to do with entries down there is you want to wrap it with square braces.
This one.
Mm-hmm.
Should I pull it out? Or
No, it's fine.
okay.
We'll do it, and then if you want to, you can pull it out, but you don't have to pull it
Okay.
out. Okay. So now
Well,
do
I like
dot
pulling
dot
them out.
in front of entries, just like we did for the object expansion. Now we're going to do array expansion, and then after entries, do a comma and inc entry. So now at the moment we have 2 entries that for that one entry. So you need to do a dot filter on entries inside there. And you want to do the exact opposite filter from the one above. So you want to do a not equals instead of an equals. So that will give you all the entries that are not the one that you wanted. And then you're going to append this new one to the end.
As well.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
Now, everything's out of order. So now you probably want to sort by entries ID.
Oh, okay.
Which would be at the end of the array, do a dot sort A comma B.
What? Okay. This is due.
It's a lambda. So do a open close paren with A comma B inside the open close paren. And then after that, fat arrow. And then you're just going to return A.ID greater than B.ID.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And that will either sort them ascending or descending. And if it's not the one you want, switch it to a less than.
That looks right. So,
Fingers crossed.
fingers crossed. This should
Blow up.
Whoa! Oh, wait.
Yeah,
It
so I might,
did something.
No, it did it. It worked. It just it's not sorted. So we didn't sort it. We have it backwards.
So I might recommend, instead of doing this filtering twice, if we could just map to a new array, and then inside the map do the conditional if we're incrementing this one, then increment that one, and otherwise just return the item.
All right. Sorry.
You saying
Can
doing
repeat that?
a map?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would work too. Walk him through it.
So instead of the filters, we're gonna do
Something about a
entries.map.
map. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Parens.
Parens.
yeah, it's this one, right?
So I would just do like parens entry.
Those curlies aren't round enough.
Yeah. Instead of the curlies, it'd be parentheses.
Map paren.
Map. Yeah. Keep going.
There
Keep
you go.
going. There you go.
Oh yeah. And now
Entry. No.
entry.
Entry. Fat arrow.
Oh,
now
we
do your curly braces. Yeah.
Now I can do it.
And then
finally.
change
You
that.
really want to do a curly brace. I understand. Yeah, I understand. It's great.
Close paren before the semicolon.
Close. Yep. Close. Paren. Yeah.
That's what it is.
There we go. And then you would do your if check to see if the ID matches what you want.
Yeah. Just like entry.id instead of if. Just entry.
Oh, are you going to do ternary?
Yep. Question at the end. Entry, right? Yep. And then you can curly.
That's when
you
we
can
do
another
our
curly.
increment.
You can do a curly.
Yeah, object spread on entry.
Oh, I see.
Dot entry.
Comma. Entry dot count plus or entry count equals. Sorry, count colon entry count plus.
One of those. Yeah, you don't need ink entry. Just count.
Minus the period.
Because so we're doing it on entry, and
yeah,
so
we're-
entry just
We're
doesn't
overriding
count.
that property.
Yep.
Count
yep,
is
okay.
equal to entry dot count plus.
Yep.
Or plus entry count. You need the entry dot in front
Entry
of that
dot.
one. Yep.
and then outside of that, curly brace, colon,
else
entry.
Entry. Yeah.
Colon,
Else
entry.
entry?
No,
Colon
colon.
entry.
Colon is
Colon.
else.
The ternary.
Yeah.
Spread operator. Yeah. Oh, you're asking.
Oh,
I read that wrong. So
yeah,
yeah,
I thought he
so
was. Yeah, I did too.
the spread operator in let's call it modern JavaScript. Anything newer than the last, or anything newer than the last 4 years or something like that.
Yeah, ES5, right?
Something like that. So if you do a ... in the object decorators, so the curly braces, if you do a ... and then immediately followed, no spaces, I guess you can have a space, but don't put a space, immediately followed by the name of an existing object within your system, or a JavaScript object in your system, then it will basically take that entire object and it'll break it out into its properties. So like ID : 1, comma, name : howdy doody, comma,
in this case.
whatever, right? And then that allows you to clone an object without manipulating the original object. And so if you wanted to manipulate a property, which is what we want to do here, we're doing a comma, and then we're just writing over top of the existing property of count with count incremented by 1. And then you can do the same thing with arrays, but instead of spreading out the properties, it'll spread out the elements of an array.
No,
Because
we don't want that.
You don't want to mutate anything in this new modern JavaScript.
Yeah.
You can just surround the whole thing with set entries, or
Oh,
you
yeah.
can move that entire thing inside set entries.
Mm-hmm. And then this will preserve the order. And it's somewhat less complicated than what we had before. My bad.
We lost our map.
2317 is
There it
what
goes. It's up. Yeah.
something about a map. No, it's mad about 2317. What column is 17?
It's still catching up on my side. Sorry.
Oh, I think I lost a.
Oh, no returns. Get rid of the curly braces and get rid of the semicolon. No. I mean, okay. Yeah, if you just delete all that.
Yeah, I don't need any of that.
You don't need the curly braces at all.
Yeah.
But he really likes the curly braces. Stop it.
I do need a curly brace.
No, you don't.
I need a curly brace.
No, get rid of that one.
Oh, get rid of this one.
Yeah, and then get rid of the semicolon at the end of the entry.
Yep.
And not the Y. Yep. And then, then you should be.
Do I get rid of this one too?
No. Add another closing paren. You deleted too many. Not a 0. Yep. There you go. Yep. Telephone.
Although this one needs to be there.
Sure.
Does this need a semicolon?
No.
Or should it have one?
No. What are you doing?
Yeah. Sorry, Ryan. If you've got more questions, we weren't sure if that was a question or a statement because I think Clayton was fumbling over the word spread operator earlier. But yeah, if they're in chat, really anybody out there, if you've got questions, feel free to chime in. We're just backseat driving to Ash's typing. It's great.
Yeah, we're also open to answers.
Yes.
So the nice thing about this one is it's simpler. The not so good thing about it
Shut
is
up,
it
leave me
doesn't
alone.
work.
Oh, that would be John's fault.
Wait, what are we doing? What happened? It doesn't work?
Yeah. The other one kind of worked, actually.
This one isn't working?
Not so much.
Do you have anything in the console?
Well,
First
there's
of
a
all,
console.
get rid of that junky bottom console that it puts in every time it does an
what's new.
update. There we go. So it's complaining about line 42, map expects a value to be returned at the end of the arrow function. What?
Which file?
Line 40 in day.js.
That's where we're at.
Oh, there's no guarantee of return. So you might, if you have something that doesn't match, there won't be a return. So you need a default. So if it gets past all your if statements, just return a React fragment. So an empty
Less than, greater than, return. Yeah, the word return. I think you'll need
just this one.
open
that one,
both-
and
both
then
of
outside of that one, do the other one.
Yep.
And that's like we're saying nothing.
I can't do like that. Why not? Dumb.
Well,
Because then I think it thinks it's just a closing one without an opening one.
yeah, that would be very confusing.
You could probably do React.
I could probably do like
fragment
div.
slash.
I could probably like do like div dot because it's probably just a div, right?
You don't want to do div.
It's not anything. It does not render.
Oh,
Yeah,
it doesn't
you could do-
render.
You could do uppercase React dot
Fragment. But that's
Oh, I see.
why bother?
It's a lot of typing. Why would I do that?
Okay, so you're saying the click doesn't do anything. Is that what you're saying?
Try it again
That's
now that
what
we
I was
don't have any
saying.
kind of warnings or anything. Although I don't think it'll have any. Go back into that function and do a console log. Just make sure that your click is actually running.
Above set entries.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it is because it was sort of working earlier. It was just mixing up the order. But
What is the ID? Do we have an ID property? And is that the right ID?
I don't know.
we should, and it should.
Okay. Thank
do
you for
we
that.
though?
Appreciate that.
It was
That's a
working
good-
before.
That's a great question.
It would be on your. Where would it be?
Get day entry service.
Yeah,
ID
there is an
1,
ID
2.
here.
Okay.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And do we need to be providing it?
Where is your click?
Yeah, we're doing that there. All that.
Oh, the click is happening in the entry.
Yeah.
Well, then, okay. And you're saying there it is. Right.
So if we go down into entries, yeah, in the
But I think it's passing the ID. It has to be passing the ID because my method worked. It got everything out of whack, out of order.
yep.
In John's
There you go,
defense,
that's
it should work. I don't. Let's go look at that function again. Maybe there's something we missed.
Yeah. Okay. So entries dot map entry.
Okay, so pull that whole map out and set it as a variable, and then log the variable, and we can look at what is being passed in. So
I
just
think
let.
is it console.table?
Oh, I would just do a comma values or whatever. Like let values equal, and then just move that console log click down below above the set entries. And then pass values into set entries. You can just do a comma. Oh, see, now you're not going to know if it's the right thing that you're looking at. And then a comma. Yep. And then pass values into set entries. So we don't want to disrupt what we were doing. We just want to look at what was being passed. Values Q. Too many close paren.
Too many. And there's an extra space, and I don't like it.
So now plus. And then expand. So we're looking for chest press. Wherever that, yeah, it's the first one. And then how many count?
2.
2. So that hasn't changed even after we've attempted to change it. So do a plus entry count instead of an entry count plus.
Mm.
And see if that has any effect. Ta-da!
It did. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was because we were incrementing after setting.
After assignment, yeah.
Yeah. So there. Ta-da! That's all it was. It was just a plus. So you could refactor it back to the way it was now that it's working. No, not that part.
Anything but that.
Did we get it there? Yeah.
Plus,
there, right?
plus, yeah.
We'd made a change down here?
Yep.
Yep. And I
There,
still have it.
yep.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure if I had gone to the
Gone
wrong
too
spot.
far. Yep.
See, I remember at the end of high school, I was like, why would you put the plus in front? That's stupid. And I was like, I've tried the
feels
for
wrong.
loop both ways. I don't see how it makes a difference.
This one's working, but this one's...
Say what now?
That works. Not so much. Yep.
Very
Well,
disappointing.
go into those types of workouts. Is the bench press working?
Ooh, we may not. Yeah. Those are calisthenics. We probably
Yeah, so go into
didn't
calisthenics and make sure that we're
set it
incrementing correctly.
properly. Nope, we don't even have it at all. Okay, I can fix that later.
Well, why not fix it now?
Well, because it's kind of boring. It's like going and doing.
It's like a copy paste.
Yeah,
It's
I
right there.
And then you can see now too that this can become just a generic thing at some point. Not right now, but
What do you
that
mean?
could easily become
What can become a generic thing?
instead of weight training entry, it may or may not be just a generic entry, right?
You could basically have a
entry-
lot of the
no,
stuff dependent
entry
on the
has
data that you pass in.
Yeah, but then those things are different, right? Like the
Yeah, I mean you can make arguments either way. I'm just saying.
Okay.
You could make this would be a thing where you could
yeah.
make that a generic
I
entry.
originally had them all entries. This is the remnant of that CSS,
Yeah.
but then I broke them out because I thought it would be easier to, or more proper to break them up by type. But I guess
Well,
in
and
this
so
case,
so toward that argument, I would almost say that we're doing the incrementation in the wrong place, because depending on the workout, it may technically mean a different thing to increment the count.
what do you
Like
mean?
obviously it doesn't, but you're already having to make a change in the calisthenics entry in order to make it to where it even increments at all. And it just seems to me like that whole function should exist in the calisthenics entry, because maybe when you increment a calisthenics thing, it also changes something else. Or maybe when you increment your weightlifting, it also does something else.
I would say that this is a thought exercise to put a pin in that one.
Yeah,
and then
let's do that.
Because I agree, Clayton. I do agree with you. And these are the debates that I have with myself for way longer than I should. I mean, not like 36 hours for a logo, but like, gee, do I really want to break it up? Do it, whatever. So at this early stage, I think it's fine to have those conversations and delay that decision, that final decision, because you can always, especially at this stage, make that change in an hour at
Yeah.
most. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, so I added it, and now it's working.
Yay.
Cool.
Progress.
All right.
But that is to say, though, too, that, and maybe it belongs inside that increment count thingamajiggy, that you would want to update your database. You would want to update your persistence layer somewhere.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So let's, there, let me, so update. Cal Inc.
Ryan likes your colors.
Oh, thank you, Ryan. Make Inc. update in local state. Local state.
And see, you've avoided Redux completely now.
That's definitely the way to go. I didn't like that library from the start. And everybody around me knows it.
Okay. So yeah, well, it I mean, it was a database for your.
It was an overly
front end.
complicated process to achieve exactly what you're doing right now.
Yeah, and I mean, and the other, I guess the other again, the other advice that I've been given is avoid Redux from the beginning, but then you're probably going to need it in the end.
Nah, you won't need it. Not with hooks and
But yeah, I mean, hooks were, I guess our hooks are relatively new.
relatively. A year and a half, something like that.
Okay, so yeah, so let's go back to our, was it day entry? Yeah. Okay. So we have this increment. It's now incrementing and setting the entries locally for us, but what we would probably want to do is,
Yeah, ultimately you want that updated in the database.
yeah, which I guess we're at the point where,
Not necessarily.
no, we're at a point where okay, so the I guess the next things to get working, right, are the ability to add days, right, the ability to edit a particular set of days, or edit an entry, or add new entries. So we have and this is new entry. This should really be like a new day, and then this is like adding a new entry on that day.
So,
all of those things we probably want to have some sort of back end for.
well, I think you could delay that a little bit.
Okay.
You can have, especially since you're doing functions instead of classes, you can have a const in that functions class that holds a representation of the data as it currently sits. And then you could modify the code that you already have so that it works against that data function.
Would it be a const, or would it be just like a variable, I guess? So we can modify it? We would need it to be able to be modified, or?
Const is a lie.
Const is a lie, okay.
It's so you can't, so with a const, you can't say u equal this brand new array. But you can change anything else about it.
Can change any. Got it. Okay. Yep. I gotcha. Okay.
It's
Brian
basically
says-
write protected.
Brian says, I'm trying to do everything vanilla, but I'm thinking about learning React next. I like React better than Angular. Clayton's been doing Angular.
Don't do Angular.
Latest Angular these days. We all did Angular 1.5, Angular JS years ago.
That was the last JavaScript I did.
I've heard great things about Vue.
Yeah.
That it is just enough of that it's just what you need, like, and no more.
I think that it is wonderful to have a foundation in vanilla, because then you understand the things that are happening.
Very true.
But once you move up to frameworks, at least in the current environment, in the JavaScript world, I would have to recommend React and or Vue. They seem to be the most popular. React is not the thing that I used to hate. I still don't like it, but it is not the thing I used to hate. So it's a lot better than what it used to be. It's actually pretty easy to pick up. And Vue is extremely easy to pick up because it requires like zero decoration to get started and start playing with it. Whereas React, it's like create React app, and now you've downloaded the entire internet onto your hard drive before you can even run a Hello World application.
The little bit that I've played with it, Vue also reminds me a lot. It's a lot closer to like the old Angular JS.
Yeah, which I really liked the old
like,
Angular.
Which I thought that was not bad at all.
I don't like the new one at all.
The early description I heard was that Vue is what Angular 2 should have been.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how accurate it is, but that was just something I heard, and I liked it.
Yeah, it mixes concepts from Knockout, Angular, and React. I don't know that I would say that it directly copies anything, but it does mix those concepts. But you can run it just by dropping a script tag on the page and then putting in some stuff. Or if your application gets large enough, you can turn it into a full CI/CD pipelined web application with a backend compile that has to happen and all kinds of junk. So Vue is as easy or as complicated as your needs need it to be.
Yeah, and supposedly React is supposed to be like that.
No.
And I just right-clicked properties on my Node modules folder for SpeakerMeet UI, which is React. It is 342 megs. It is 76,904 files in 6,455 folders. That's just the Node modules.
Yeah. And you haven't done anything crazy in that application.
No, it's create React app, React router, and Material UI for the most part.
Okay. Yep.
But anyway, Ash, so I think that we can push off building a backend a little bit longer so that you can get a better view of your domain that you have to support.
Sure.
I think if we created a const array of data points in each one of your service files,
yep,
that you could have that in-memory local storage of your test data that you could manipulate and add to and subtract and everything like that. It just disappears whenever you restart the app, but whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. And I was going to suggest that we could even delay that, since now you're putting all of that data in local storage or in local state anyway. But I think now is a good time to do that, so I'm not going to suggest that.
Okay. I was concerned that this would be a little bit too cumbersome, but I guess that makes sense.
It's faking the representation of a database anyway. So
yeah, and the first step is super easy. You literally just take the stuff you're returning and stick it in that const, and then you just return the const.
Yep.
And then I might even move the const down below the functions. That way you have a clear view of what you're working on, and the data is just like, oh yeah, it's there.
It'll be mad at you.
I'm gonna do it.
But
that's mad at you already.
You can't put the beans above the Frank.
So variables get hoisted above functions.
I know, but ESLint would be mad at you.
You need to return local entries. Semicolon.
Yeah, I was getting there.
It's getting there. Chill out.
And so, well, yeah, we'll leave it there for now.
Everything seems to be working. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
And then with the day service, we're going to do the same thing.
And John, it doesn't matter about the beans and the franks because that is temporary. That is test data. It can be mad all at once for the moment.
But it's so mad.
Was it default? What did I call these? Local entries, local days.
Yeah. it doesn't really matter.
Well, yeah, true.
It's
but,
constant data. I mean,
you know,
whatever.
sometimes they say you practice what you
Preach.
practice.
No,
you do it.
Game day, man. Game day.
You do what you practice.
Oh, then we
Man,
shouldn't be doing this at all.
We talking about practice.
And I probably need this one as well.
Yeah, that one will need to be extracted. You want that one to be, yes, above. Because
There,
I
and this
don't
should
think they
be
get
a
hoisted out of
const.
order. Yep. C. And then that should make everything happy.
And then this can go with that. And then everything should still work. That's
Yep.
working. That's working. Woohoo.
And then
Okay.
I would say just like you've got, just as a quick refactor, because we're going to want to add more test data. Because ultimately, when you really get into this stuff, you're going to want each day to have its own
Oh, yeah.
own stuff. So I would do exactly what we've done with your days here, where you've got a base object that has a certain amount of information, and then you in the actual data, you're only changing the stuff that you need to change for that piece. For the
You're saying to do
the
that for the entries?
Yeah. So like,
As
maybe do
opposed
it
to-
by type or whatever.
Oh, I see. Yep.
And you'll just have a base object, and then you would just change like the ID for each entry, and you would change the. I guess you wouldn't really need to change much else for your dummy data, right? You would just need to change the ID.
Yep.
So if you created a base calisthenics, base distance, based activity, base weight training, then you could just slap those in, give them IDs, and
Yep.
you're off to the races. Now, right now, they don't have any connection to the day. So that's something to think about in your data set.
Correct. Yeah, so we need to correct that first before we move forward, I think.
Well, go at well,
Right.
yeah,
because
whenever
so
you
like,
want. I think if you extracted the different base exercise types, then adding, because you've already got 2 weight trainings and 2 calisthenics, so if you extracted those as base items, then that's 2 less things that you've got to update whenever you figure out how you want to connect them to the day.
Okay. Okay.
Constantinople.
Weight training.
And we're back on the Turks.
Oh, yeah. I like the Turks. I loved Turkey. And you love a Turk, so
Yep. And my Turkish
yeah,
wife
so-
makes a mean turkey.
here you would do the object spread on base weight training and then just set the ID. I know it's already set to 1, but just so everything looks the same.
Yep. And then was it comma space and then ID : 1,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
And I think you've got a chest press and you've got a bench press.
Oh yeah. Let's.
I mean, this one's the chest press, but when you add the next one, you'll also want to set the name to
Or
be
should
whatever.
should I just change? Should I set the name in here like I've done?
I mean, you can. It's
like,
whatever is gonna make sense for you.
Yeah. Let's get rid of. Yeah. Let's just use this as a base one. We'll just have base for each of these. Const. Base calisthenics. for a person who can't spell or type. That's
Yeah, you picked a
craziest
hard one.
word.
I might have called it something else. I know
was
that's the
trying to
right
use
name, but
It was yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to do.
except for you don't have aerobic exercise.
You might be right there.
I think you've got like activity and distance exercise.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what's what, but oh, yoga is an activity. I don't know that I would call that aerobic.
Yeah.
Anaerobic exercise.
It's probably, I don't know what it is.
Decent Land by Surly Bot.
Two. Okay.
One single plop.
Const base. What was this one? What did I call
I
this?
think the distance.
Distance exercise.
It is very mad at you for typing.
Yeah, and
So this is you working outside of Docker, right?
yes.
Yeah. See, this is much faster, but I'm not sure it's better.
If you do dev in container, it's not. This isn't. It's the same speed.
Yeah, and so this is a lot closer to the speed that when I started doing the development in Docker when I just started, and it was about this speed. But then something happened, and maybe I must have changed the config or whatever, and then all of a sudden now it's like it was taking like what 15-20 minutes to get this thing sped up or like booted. So I don't I must have done something wrong, so I'll have to go back and
You have broken it.
base distance exercises ID 3. Const base activity, I think is that what I called it? Activity.
Yeah. You just grabbed the other one.
Yep. Oh, I see what you're saying. Whoops.
I like how it's adjusting the fields as you're working. No activity for you.
Based.
Oh, how'd that happen?
Because I had 2 calisthenics.
Big time off by 1 error.
Oh, no. Right here.
There we go.
Yep. And now we can do.
Well,
Actually,
change. Yeah,
this is-
activity. There we go. Now it looks more not quite correct. I think your second calisthenics disappeared.
Yeah, and the bench press, so I just got rid of that. So, okay, so we could add this one. Right, is what we were saying. And then if we want to change the name to pull-ups, right? Name.
Right. Yeah.
And then Let's see. What were some of the other pieces of calisthenics?
Yeah, you had a bench press for the weight.
Reps.
Yeah.
Let's do. Ten reps. This needs a comma, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Comma, and then another one was like assistance, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, resist or whatever.
Extra.
Yeah.
That's what I called it. And let's do that as -15. So it'll give us like
A little helping hand.
a little assist there. What does it not like?
Yeah, I just got temporarily confused.
Okay, so that one's now working, and then let's go and grab
Yeah, you had
this weight
bench
training,
press.
bench press.
But now you can see like your data's a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
Should be easier to work with.
Name. Yeah. If I could type.
Yeah, and I think the only significant difference on bench press was you had it at 140 pounds or something like that.
100, yeah. What was that? What is it? Weight? I think is that what I called it? Yeah, weight. A chest press at 190 is nothing to sneeze at.
Don't sneeze while you're doing it.
Yeah, and let's start with a count of 4. Okay. No.
It's just a do it again. Yeah.
Okay. So then what you're saying is we need to associate these with the day somehow.
Right, and then you can do a filter where whatever, however you're doing that is equal to the ID that was passed in.
So, yeah, I guess this probably does require a little bit of thinking about, right? Like, do we want to, like, if I was storing these, I would. So I was thinking sort of like a NoSQL would be a pretty decent thing for this.
Yeah. Now, if you're gonna do NoSQL, then you could nest them, but yeah. If each day was a document, then you could nest all the entries in the day.
In the day itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if I want to have the getting separate, it doesn't really. I guess.
Now, at the same time, we don't necessarily have to tackle that concept right this second. I mean, we could, but
Yeah.
we could also do things. So if you don't want to pollute the data set that you already have by throwing in like a day ID in there or something like that, in your dummy data here, hydrate, you could have a secondary array that just references a day ID,
Like a mapping.
and an array of training IDs. And then the only place that would be seen is in this file, because that wouldn't leak down.
I mean, ultimately, I guess if we're going to get the entries separately, we're going to need to have the day ID stored with that data some way, either in like a mapping table or in a and I could do. The question is, do we want to do? I think the easiest thing is to just to add a day ID here. Right, so you have the base, and then we could just say
it's easy enough. Comma day ID. And this would have been my knee jerk, like, it's got to have a day ID.
Right.
I thought up the other one specifically because I thought you may not want to have the day ID.
No, that's fair. Actually, and I kind of want to put it at the beginning here.
Yeah, well, and because that's not in the base training set, or the base, it's not in the base. You could put it in front of the base, and everything would be fine.
Oh, I can put it. You're saying like over here?
Mm-hmm.
Or what?
And then just do a comma in between that and the dots. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, I kind of like
putting it after
best.
is overriding a pre-existing value. Putting it before, you're just creating basically default values. But since it's not in your base, it won't get overwritten, and it's easier to see this way.
Yeah, and so okay, so what do we have? We have days 1 through 4, right? So
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Do you know how to do multi-select in VS Code?
Yeah, I believe it's like Control Alt Shift or something. No, something like this, right?
Yeah, and then you can just hit the 2. Ta-da! Now, it can't do that for the other values, unfortunately, but...
Yeah, that doesn't matter all that much. What I mostly just wondered is, like, I mean, one thing I could do is just to differentiate it. Like, right, just get rid of a couple of these.
Yeah, but like ID1, ID2, you've got a couple ID2s up top, and a couple ID1s at the bottom.
Yeah, so this is probably a problem.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
This should be a 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then...
Yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Does these have to be? This could be again, right?
Well, so if we we probably won't. Well, yeah, we're definitely not going to do it tonight. But whenever we go to have that increment count actually increment our core data, then you're going to have a unique ID for those entries.
Yep. Okay.
And the uniqueness could be a combination of day ID and ID. It
That's
just
true.
complicates it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are coming up on pumpkin hour. It is 10 o'clock Eastern. That is when we start to wind down.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo.
So, Ash, we'll let you finish your thought so we get in a working state, since it's failing.
it's
oh
technically
my goodness.
What? Yeah, because right now it's not differentiating things out.
Yeah, you're not filtering. That's a quick fix.
I'm not filtering. So let's do.
Oh no, he's made it worse.
Yeah. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. Let's do.
Doesn't it always?
And you can see in your console log, it's complaining that we've got the same key because we're not filtering. Because you're keyed off of ID, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then here we're gonna do.
It's interesting that it's complaining about 6, though. I think he's only got 1 6. No, there it is. I see it.
No, it's over. Everything's over and over again. Okay, so this is 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh, I should have just used the like ID number to be the. Anyways, well, 19, 20. Okay, so this should be all there. What would be nice is if we come up to here, we add that filtering. So
you can do it inline right there on your return.
Do it inline with a map, right?
Filter.
And then this is where
day ID, I think. Right, that's the day.
Yeah. Equals ID.
Wow. It'd be E fat arrow. Yep, just like that. And then,
once this catches up,
yeah, refresh. Okay,
now,
no console errors, and you've got different stuff in every day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this day matches that day, but yeah, this one's missing the things that it should be missing.
I mean, your app is like, I don't know, 20% working.
Yeah. And then we can now update.
Yep.
Yeah, this is pretty sweet. So, yeah, so the next time we do this, we can, now that we have the I guess the local state, the in-memory state, for in the services, we can get the rest of the functionality on the UI side, where it will call to those services to make those updates, and then we can then pretty much the UI will be mostly done. We'll still have to wire up the services once you get a back end.
Yeah,
right?
well, you've got new entry and edit and add and edit.
Yeah, exactly.
But but you can do all that with these in-memory data structures and figure out how you really want the data structures to work, and then move on to the back end.
Yeah, that was exactly what I wanted. What I was hoping we would be able to do. Perfect. This has been pretty sweet.
All right. Then with that, we thank you guys and gals, and everybody in chat hanging out. Appreciate you hanging in with us and watching us backseat drive to John Ash's typing, working through some React and the Lift Fit Log fitness log tracker. We do this every Wednesday, live coding on some personal projects of ours, rotating amongst whatever suits our fancy. Clayton's got a couple of Blazor projects, a Blazor game engine, a port of Monogame in Blazor, as well as Blazor CMS. Ash has the Lift Fit Log fitness log tracker here that we've been working on in React. And I've got SpeakerMeet, a web application for speakers, conferences, and user groups with a React front end and .NET 5 back end, as well as Triple Derby, an online horse racing game that we've had on the back burner for a while, and maybe we'll try to resurrect that as well. So with that, we will see you next week, next Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live broadcast of the podcast, as well as next Wednesday, 8 p.m. for live coding. So with that, we will raid our friend over at Seek a Player and say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
See ya.
Though I'm gonna go with tax evasion.